Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I want to introduce what we're going to be doing here on a kind of weekly, bi-weekly basis. Bill is going to be joining us, talking to us about Knightscope. Today's video is going to be a little intro, of course, talking to Bill and his background, but then also current things always happen in the company. Going forward, want this to be pretty interactive. If you got questions, please drop them below. We'll make sure it gets in here. But first things first, Bill, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Greetings from Silicon Valley.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Love to hear that. The tech center of the world. And I mean, hey, we're talking robots, so it makes a lot of sense. I'm really excited and appreciate you taking the time. I know a lot of other people are gonna love it as well. But look, let's dive into it. Usually like to kick off like early career, things you were doing before Nightscope, and of course have to know how you came up with the idea and how do you come up with the name if we want to kind of start wherever and then end
Oh,
there.
way too many questions.
So here, kick it off, give me your background and we'll go from there.
Yeah, by way of introduction, I'm a former automotive executive. I spent 10 years at Ford Motor Company, 12 different jobs, four different continents, every functional area. It was an awesome training ground. My second to last job, I was director of mergers and acquisitions. As I like to say, we running around buying everything. My last job, ill-advised, I was an entrepreneur. Convinced the board of directors to release $250 million to me to do a roll-up in the used parts industry. If folks don't know what a roll-up is, it's basically you buy a company and then you buy a bunch of ones that look like the same, and then you make one big one. So I built the world's second largest automotive recycler. I had bought 22 companies in 11 months at about 600 employees, doing about 150 million in sales. And that basically gave me the entrepreneurial bug. So kind of fast forward to 2013, after 9/11, I was born in New York City. Someone hit my town on 9/11. I'm still profoundly pissed off about it. So I've dedicated the rest of my life to better securing our country. And so after 9/11 and the Boston Marathon bombings and Sandy Hook and never ending ongoing violence, just, okay, we kind of need a different strategy here. We need to provide some new tools for officers and guards to better secure the country. And so we, founded Knightscope. Absolutely, actually, yesterday is a 9-year anniversary, which is a miracle, right? Because the likelihood, 95% of startups fail. As I like to say, about, I don't know, something like 80% never make it past their third anniversary.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for us to, found a company, get it funded, grow it, and then take it public on Nasdaq. Like, odds are somewhere in the lottery kind of category, but we got it done, and it's a very unique set of technologies that we've combined to better secure communities in the country.
So before I'll get you to do a little elevator pitch for Nightscope here in a second, but firstly, tell me how the so okay, idea comes up, but tell me how we get to the name Nightscope and what went into that, if you don't mind. I see people already asking those questions, so I gotta ask.
Um, there's a lot of things go into branding, right? One, it needs to sound easy to say, right? Two syllables typically works. And it should be easy to write. It visually should be appealing. It should have some meaning. So knight in shining armor, scope, meaning, kind of surveillance. I'll tell you a funny story, actually. The runner up was actually going to be Terrascope. And we ended up a year later moving on to Terabella Avenue. So it would have been absolutely hilarious to have Terrascope on Terabella Avenue. But we ended up with Knightscope, and we're pretty happy with it. It's still has the essence of what we wanted to convey.
So okay, yeah, look, love it. Well, it makes a lot of sense. I think knight, I think armor is the perfect protecting. Okay, great. So on the
Oh,
right
don't forget
track.
the URL needs to be available. Like, so there's like a whole nightmare process to go through if you haven't done it before.
Yep. Oh, well, okay, great answer. Now here, I guess I gotta ask, give me Nightscope and let's imagine it's a pretty high elevator. Let's say it's like the 50th floor. Like you got a minute or two. But give me the elevator pitch for Nightscope from the 50th floor.
Sure. So our long-term mission is to see if we can make the United States of America the safest country in the world, um, by combining several unique technologies into a new capability, to give officers and guards an ability to uh, have their eyes, ears, and voice on the ground in multiple locations at the same time, and also provide a physical deterrence. So the unique set of combination of technologies, it's self-driving autonomous technology, robotics, artificial intelligence, and electric vehicles. All individually are really hard to do. Combining them and then having them work, out in the rain 24/7, with a client down your throat, is technologically extremely difficult. But I'm proud to report that we've got it working, and we have clients across the country operating 24/7. We've done well over 1 million hours now out in the field, and we've actually proven that the technology works in helping fight crime and terrorism.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. I mean, you touched on that too. Each one of them, I guess, wasn't hard enough for you, so you had to combine all of them, which is great. And we'll go
Well,
into each of those.
listen, Jason, like the criminals and terrorists don't care. Oh, it's so hard. They're not sitting around either looking at the stock ticker or looking at how hard your technology is. They're off to create a bunch of chaos and difficulties for society. And if you add up how much the difficulty is, it maxes out at around $2 trillion a year in the US annually. Like that negative economic impact is not something that we should be paying as a hidden tax, basically. So yeah, it's hard, but it's a big challenge that we're up for.
Yeah. No, and obviously excited to talk about the tech in more detail in future videos. And seems like we'll be able to talk about a bunch of the different verticals that go into creating these awesome robots, and a lot of the other kind of technology you guys have. But we'll save that for a little teaser for videos to come. I guess going into just a little bit more, keeping it on you. Walk me through kind of what the day to day, week to week looks like as a CEO of a robotics company, to make it easy for you.
Well, first, we're not a robotics company, so we're an advanced physical security technology company. Our
Okay.
mission is to secure the country, not to build robots. I mean, I get in trouble for saying the following, but one of the problems with the robotics industry, roboticists. Like all they want to worry about is the robot and the little widget that they have, and not really focused on fixing a problem. And I think little by little that's changing, but way too slow for my taste. My day to day, I always joke with my staff is like, wherever we're not properly staffed, I'm the intern, right? So I'm the social media intern, I'm the HR intern. One time I was the accounting intern. Like, it's you end up having to do all kinds of stuff, and you're flipping from one subject to another. One minute you're, analyzing the term sheet for, a big unique financing instrument, one of which we announced yesterday, to the tune of $100 million for a committed equity facility. The next minute, we're looking at, how do we improve the client experience? Next minute, sending out an offer letter. Next minute, getting ready for the board meeting. And then, oh, well, the compensation committee needs some input. Like you know, it's never one stream of consciousness that you can like focus for a good period of time on one subject. You got to be able to switch gears, and then all of a sudden, be on this interview with you, and then my next subject is something completely different. So, being able to, multitask can be helpful, and it's all be very distracting. So what ends up happening is work like kind of normal days during the week, and then the weekend is where you can actually have some quiet time to do some real work. So I mean, it's tough. Like depending on the week, you're easily running 60 to 100 hours a week, and it can get brutal at times, and you're just kind of running on adrenaline or or you got a screw loose, which most founders have a screw
Yeah,
loose.
the entrepreneurial dream and the bug, as you call it, for sure. But no, you touched on a good point. I mean, you wear a lot of hats. You do an interview with me, and then maybe you're in a whatever accounting meeting or whatever it might be. So definitely juggle a lot of stuff. But awesome to hear you get to touch a lot of different parts of the business, and constantly have a good overview, which is great. I guess last question to you before we wrap this one up. Anything else about Bill you want people to know? Any interests, any things you do outside of Knightscope that you'd like people to hear about?
It's difficult for me to answer that question because my wife says I'm possessed. Like all you think about is Knightscope. Like I'm watching a movie and I'm like, oh wow, that's a cool font that they use, and oh, that's an interesting surface. Hey, we could use that. I mean, I wonder what that would mean. Like, oh, that was an interesting line. Like I'm not watching the movie. I'm like have lenses. Like, how can I use this to help Knightscope? Which is kind of messed up, right? Um, I used to play guitar. Used to have really long hair. I was in a heavy metal band. Now that the public listing's done, I don't have a lot of time, but I have a few more minutes. So once in a while, I'm trying to pick up my guitars back up again. So
Wow,
that's been good. I'm not
awesome.
sure and I'm sure the neighbor's too happy with it, but
Well, look, really appreciate you again taking the time to do things like this. I know this was just kind of an intro video, get you out there. Of course, want to invite anyone that's made it this far. If you've got questions about Knightscope, please drop it below. We're going to cover a ton of things, the industry, blue sky stuff, talk about different technologies that Knightscope's working on. You
and
name
it's
it.
all easy peasy, Jason. Like starting a company, it's all like smooth, straight line. Everything goes according to plan. There's no stress involved. Like everyone should do it.
Perfect. Well, there you go. Again, welcome any questions. But Bill, thanks so much for joining. I know this was an easy one, but looking forward to doing some really exciting videos in the future.
Of course. Good to see you.